Yeah.
All right. Hey world, I'm Tamara Jasmine with JasmineSoiree, and I have a very special guest in my presence. I have singer, musician, comedian, Miss Rita B. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Arkansas.
Yeah, I love Arkansas.
So, okay, what is the feeling you get every time you touch down in the state?
I feel warm. It feels like I'm just in the midst of family. It's like Mississippi's cousin, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm at home every time.
Okay, so let's just bring it back to the beginning. Born and raised in Mississippi. What was that experience like?
You know, what most people experience in Mississippi. I don't know, I had a great upbringing. Okay. I was raised by a bunch of women. So my mother, my grandmother, and my big mama. So it was a lot of love in my house. There was a lot of nudity in my house, you know. Right. I got comfortable being free at a young age. A lot of food, a lot of pound cake, sweet potato pie.
All that good stuff.
Yes, so I was raised by a bunch of women, and so I learned very young what it meant to be an independent woman.
Got you.
Growing up in Mississippi, yes.
So a lot of people may not know, outside of being a comedian, you can sing.
Listen, I can't sing.
I
can hold a note. My mother's the real singer. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm a musician, I'm a drummer. That's my main area of music, but I can hold a note. So I guess I did inherit that from my mom.
Got you.
Yes.
So what's interesting about you being a drummer is that you served, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And the National Guard, and you were a drummer.
Yes.
Can you just explain that to us?
You know, a lot of people don't know or didn't know that in Mississippi there's an Army band. I was in the 41st Army band. Like, I got in at 18 years old. Okay. Somebody who was already in told me, hey, you know, you're a musician, you can actually go to the Army and make money playing the drums. And that's exactly what happened. I got paid in middle basic training. I got a drill check. I got the GI Bill. I didn't even have to have a job when I was in school because I was in the Army. But we literally went around the state. We played for different ceremonies. We played for a change of command. We were entertaining the troops. Okay. So the Army band is really, really growing because it's not what you think like in the past. They have rock bands, jazz bands, second line bands. So it was a great experience for me. I served for 9 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So at what point did you know I have a gift? I have the gift to make people laugh. Even in their deepest, darkest hours, I can bring a smile to their face. You know,
now that I've been doing comedy, all my classmates are like, you know, you were always a funny person in the room. And if I think about it, you know, all the areas I've been in bands and playing basketball, I've always been trying to get a laugh in the group. But I never thought it was something that I could make a career out of. Because in Mississippi, you know, it's not necessarily a space for comedy. Right. You think Mississippi, you think music, you think politics, you don't necessarily think comedy. But in 2013, I went to an open mic and there were some guys doing comedy. And I started getting butterflies while I was listening to them. And I said, you know, it sounded like God spoke to me. He was like, you can do this. And like a couple weeks later, I did my first set. I think I made like $25 in 5 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, this lit right here.
This lit?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Time is passing fast.
Wow, it has. So what has your experience been in the world as far as being a female comedian? Has it been fair?
That I know of.
Okay.
If I've been discriminated against, I don't know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I've not gotten a job because I'm a female comedian, I don't know it. Okay. But, you know, it is a thing. Like, you know, Monique is raising the issue about gender discrimination when it comes to pay. And that's across the board. It doesn't matter what realm of work you're in. If you're a woman, the gender, the gap, the pay gap is just a huge difference, you know. So I appreciated Monique speaking up about it because I feel like she was a sacrificial lamb. She raised an issue that was on most of our minds, but a lot of us didn't have the bravery to speak up about it because we're worried about being blackballed.
Right.
And Monique don't care.
She does not care.
I got the gift, you know, I need to raise awareness. So I'm glad that she raised awareness for it because in the future, it will work in my favor, you know, and congratulations to her. She just got a special on Showtime.
I know, very happy for her.
But for me, I think, you know, just being a woman, you have to be, like, better. You know, like there could be a man who's a comedian. Yeah, 10, 20.
Right. There
could be a man who's a comedian who's mediocre and you still got to be way better than him, you know? Because even, like I'm at shows sometimes and it'll be a male comedian who's like not funny and the women will still be sweating their mouths. I'm like, this dude wasn't even funny. You know what I'm saying? So as a woman, you do have to like be way, way better to get attention. But I also try not to be the stereotypical female comedian because a lot of people just think Black female comedians in particular are raunchy. So I try to talk about a multitude of things in my set, you know, so I'm not stereotyped and put in a box.
And you know what? I was looking at a lot of your videos how did you find your voice? Because it's several different styles. Like you said, there are some that are raunchy, some that are educational. How did you find your fit?
Well, I was told that it takes at least 10 years for a comedian to really find their voice.
Okay.
And, people are like, oh, you're too old to do a thing. Actually, as a comedian, the older you are, the more experiences you have, and the richer your material is. So for me, I didn't start finding my voice until I started going through, because like when I first started, everything in my life was good.
Right.
And my material was just kind of hacky, And then when I got divorced, I got more material. When I came out of the closet, I got more material. So it's like as a comedian, the more you experience and the more you go through, that's the kind of stuff you talk about on stage, and you use that to be relatable with people.
Right. How liberating was it for you when you did come out of the closet?
Man, like I get chills just thinking about it. It was very liberating because being in the South and coming up in a religious family and dealing with this idea that you're an abomination. I was like, man, I'm just gonna free myself from all of these confines, from all of this stuff, and just come out and be free, because I was literally suffering in silence. So I made a decision to do it right before I left for New York. And the night I did it, I didn't tell my mom I was gonna do it. So she was on the front row, and I looked at her.
Wait a minute, you did this at church?
I did this at my show, my farewell show.
Oh.
At church?
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I was like, what? You got some balls.
Nah.
Okay.
It was at a farewell comedy show right before I left for New York. And I had only told a group, like a handful of people, I was like, yo, I'm gonna come out tonight, Because some people knew, but they didn't know. Like, especially church folk, they didn't know. Otherwise, they probably would have been hiring me for stuff. But my mom was on the front row. And then a couple who I'm really close with, a lesbian couple who just got married, they were on the front row.
Okay.
And to that moment, I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to do it. And I looked at them and I was like, well, there's my strength right there.
That's your strength. That's your support.
I did it, and they clapped for like 15, 20 seconds, So all those things I was worried about, like being alienated, those fears were, just not as serious as I thought they were,
Yeah.
And if folks have unfollowed me, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's 2020. It's time to be who you are. Forget what people have to say. Opinions don't matter.
Yeah, and I don't want you to follow me like just based on who I love. You know what I'm saying? Like either I'm funny or I'm not to you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want fake folks following me anyway. So it's all good. The reception has been wonderful, and I feel so liberated, and I'm very happy.
That's cool. So you went on and you did a Kevin Hart comedy special on Comedy Central. So how did that come about?
Well, Kevin Hart is a very giving man when it comes to bringing other comedians up. So he does this thing called Heart of the City. They just finished, I think, their 3rd or 4th season, where he goes to different cities and he highlights comedians who didn't have TV credits.
Right.
And so he picks like 4 or 5 people from one city, and then he gives them an 8 or 9 minute set, and you get a Comedy Central credit. And that is a big deal as a comedian to have a TV credit, because people really look at you as a legitimate person. They take you seriously. So Kevin came to Jackson, Mississippi.
Wow.
And he picked about 4 of us, and we got to perform. And my life really did just change after that. It did. And Kevin was so humble and graceful and giving us advice. He didn't have to do that. He could just be successful and not reach down to pick other people up. But I'll forever be indebted to him for giving me that opportunity.
Kevin Hart recently, a lot of people came down on him because of a comment that he made on Twitter years and years ago that he apologized for. What was your thought about that? Well,
I think we need to give people room and grace to grow.
I agree.
Know what I'm saying? It was a long time ago. And he's explained since then that he's grown. He's talked to people in the LGBT community, and he has an understanding of why he was wrong. And recently, like just last week, he talked about his response to it when the Oscars canceled him for not apologizing.
Which he had apologized for already.
Yeah. But it's a touchy subject.
Right.
And if you're on social media, we have freedom of speech, but you also have to be prepared for the consequences for what you say. So basically, I just want to scrub my Twitter because I don't know what I've said. You know what I'm saying? I got like 21,000 tweets. I don't even remember tweeting that much.
It ain't no telling what you said.
There's no telling.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need to define a person by one mistake. We need to look at things as a whole. Just like with Gayle King. If you do one thing that's not popular or not satisfactory, okay, that's one mistake. Apologize and learn from it, but I don't think we need to define somebody by one mistake and try to cancel them. I think that's unfair.
I don't know where this cancel culture came from, but it's like at this point you're not allowed to make any mistakes. You say the wrong thing, then it's like everybody's like cancel. It's like there's no grace, like you mentioned earlier, or forgiveness.
It seems like it's coming from a lot of miserable people on social media who, to me, it feels like they're projecting. You know, it's like, well, I don't have anything going for myself, so when I see you do something wrong, I'm going to try to bring you down to my level. But it sucks. It really sucks,
it does.
because people are really out here doing good things, and folks don't deserve to be canceled. Now, some folks do. You know what I'm saying? You think about, like, I think habitual offenders should be more subject to canceling than somebody who makes an isolated mistake.
Right.
Kevin Hart, absolutely not. Gayle King, absolutely not. Oprah Winfrey, absolutely not. You have to think about all the contributions, you know, that they make to something before you decide to cancel, because it's better for us to have them in these leadership positions than not, because somebody else is going to replace them, and it probably won't be who we want. You know what I'm saying? We want Ben Carson to be the black leader? Hell no. No, it ain't what you want. Let's stick with Gayle and Oprah.
I get you. So you have toured with Rickey Smiley, who is a good friend of yours. Tell me how that relationship came about.
Rickey is like a father to me. I met him in 2016. I did an open mic competition at the Stardom Comedy Club in Alabama, and the owner of the club, Bruce Ayer, said, "I need you to meet Rickey Smiley. You know, you remind me of him." Yes. And so I met Rickey in 2016, and ever since then, we've been extremely close. He's accessible. He is extremely encouraging. You know, he says, "I'm gonna be the next Wanda Sykes."
That's a dope compliment.
Yeah,
that's a dope compliment.
Yeah, but Rickey is a great guy. You know, whenever I need him, I call him and ask for advice. Sometimes I've had really big shows, and I'm like, "Yo, bro, I'm afraid." You know, he'll call me and give me advice. You know, just breathe. This is what you need to do. This is what you don't need to do. So my career has been so much better with his mentorship and guidance, and I hope to maintain that relationship across the years, because he's a really good person to have in your corner.
That's awesome. So you're from Mississippi. You know what I gotta ask?
What?
With racial tensions being the way that they have been, are things better down there? I know it's a difference between Mississippi and then now you're in New York, but you know, how is it now?
So here's my thought.
She had to take a breath.
Here's my thought. I think Mississippi is the only state still flying the Confederate flag. And that to me is a problem, because it's like the last thing that we're holding on to. It's the last piece of racism that we have to hold on to. Like, I have a joke, I say, you know, the governor is treating that flag like it's an old pair of underwear. Like, it got holes in it. You know it's time to get rid of them, but you don't let them draw go.
You don't let go. Sentimental value.
Yeah, literally. This idea that it's heritage versus hate. No, that's not what it was. The Civil War was to keep slavery in place, period. And the Confederate flag is a representation of that. So I think when Mississippi gets better leaders, then our narrative will start to shift. But right now, it's still Republican-led, Republican-run, and it's bad, because we have actors and actresses who are like, "I'm not going to come to Mississippi and film movies until y'all get rid of the flag."
Right.
So it seems like the racism is a little more covert now, which I kind of wish it was still overt, because at least we can see the enemies, you know? So it's covert now, it's systemic, it's systematic, and so we still have work to be done, which is why we need to vote and get people in office who have our best interests at heart. So the leadership has to change for Mississippi to change.
Definitely. So you took a leap. You decided to move from Mississippi, from what we were just talking about, where the Confederate flag is still being hung around, all the way to Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
So what's that like?
Well, I got an agent.
Okay.
So that's what prompted the move. I got an agent, the Buckall Agency in New York. Bob Sumner, who was the co-creator of Def Jam, saw me perform in Miami, and he was like, "You got it, I'm gonna put you on." So Bob is the reason I got introduced to the agent in Brooklyn, in New York, and I had to move there. So I've been there since November of 2019, and it's been a major adjustment. I mean, New York is extremely expensive. It's extremely expensive, but it is also a place where it can be lucrative for you if you grind right, and if your trajectory, you know, is in the right place, you'll be able to be lucrative eventually. So I'm there, I'm patient, I'm grinding, and as my agent said, it's just a matter of time before I get something that's going to carry me to the next level. Because what was happening in Mississippi is I was getting complacent, I was comfortable, people start calling me a big fish in a little pond or something like that, and I was like, well, you know, I want to make sure I'm still growing. You know, I'm in my 30s, you know what I'm saying? So I said, I'm just gonna make this leap and see what happens, because what I don't want to do is not make a leap out of fear and then live in regret. Like, I wonder what would have happened had I moved.
Right.
So Ricky was one of the main ones telling me, go to New York,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as opposed to like Atlanta, which is kind of like a bigger Jackson.
Right,
you know?
it is.
So New York is completely different.
Huge.
And it is challenging me for real.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
That's what everybody says. So.
Okay, so you said something that really made me laugh. You called yourself a runaway gay. So you made the big announcement.
Yeah.
And then you moved.
Quickly. Like,
okay.
I made the announcement, you know, came out or whatever, and then I moved, and then I'm like, man, it kind of makes me a runaway gay, as opposed to a runaway slave, you know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
If you see my picture on the tree, snatch it down. Please.
Snatch it down, please. Yes. Okay, so this is what I have to ask you. Where in the hell did you come up with the remix of the Cha-Cha Slide? How did you come up with that?
So it's based on a real story.
Okay.
My grandmother, we had very candid conversations, and we were eating breakfast one day, and she said, you don't need to do the oral sex. That's how she said it. She didn't say
oral sex.
Yeah, she didn't say oral sex. She was like, you don't need to do the oral sex. And she made up something like, you know, it'll make your tongue fall out. And then I said, the oral sex is like a line dance. And then I just thought about the Cha-Cha Slide. And I said, no, let's go turn it into like a shuffle, but for oral sex.
But you kind of gave like a breakdown, like a woman's guide.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna go too deep in it on camera.
It's on my new special.
It's on her new special.
Yes, yeah. It's very popular.
Yeah.
Like, women are literally messaging me like, girl, I tried the shuffle and it worked.
And it worked.
I'm like, that's TMI, but all right.
Yeah, and then you made the comment like, make sure you go from the window to the wall, not in my eyes, something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, girl.
Yeah, you don't want that stuff in your eye.
You don't want it. Well, you know, some people do.
Yeah.
You know, whatever float the boat.
Yeah, see, I don't do that stuff no more. So,
right.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Well, listen, I know that you've had a very, very long day, but before you get out of here, can you give us all of your social media information, where we can get that special, and she has a single out. So we need all the information.
Okay, here we go. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's Rita Brent Comedy. That's RitaBrent Comedy. Did I forget how to spell my damn name? Rita Brent Comedy. It's RitaBrent Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My new special is called Sip on This Tea, and it is available on all platforms. You can get it on Vimeo, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon Music, iTunes. Make sure you get it on there. And the name of my single is Rock Me Like a Pothole. It's my kind of like my tribute to Jackson, Mississippi, because we have a lot of potholes, but I wanted to make light of them because everybody was roasting us. So it's called Rock Me Like a Pothole. It's a Southern soul song. It's real cool. And if you want to book me, ritabrentcomedy@gmail.com.
Okay, so one more thing.
Okay.
I always tell my guests, leave us with like some type of gem, words of encouragement for everybody that's watching.
Oh, absolutely. Just be true to yourself. You know, don't live in fear, don't live in regret. Or if you do have fear, feel the fear and do it anyway. Because as we see, time is not guaranteed, it's not promised to us. So live life to the fullest and be true to yourself. I think that's it.
Okay. So thank you so much for coming on my show. I have to give a special thanks to Shonda. She's probably not going to come around to this camera, but thank you so much for bringing a wonderful production to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. You and your wonderful husband keep bringing us wonderful things, and we appreciate you. This is another segment of Jasmine's Soiree. Thank you.
Thank you.
We out.